Hari has been symbolized by a number of birds. Of course, the hawk or the eagle, which flies very high, the peacock or the western domestic cock, which crows before the sunrise, and the so-called phoenix or firebird, which in the Orient was usually the fabled phoenix of the West in the Orient, became the golden pheasant, or Chinese red golden pheasant. And any bird of this nature, sometimes the swan or the hunts or the goose also was used as the solar bird. And on a number of occasions in the East, also the parrot, golden or the green parrot, was similarly used. All these birds were used as symbols of Vishnu or Hari. And the prevalence of the hawk or the eagle as a symbol for Hari can be seen from east to west. In fact, in Egypt, the hieroglyph for Hari was the hawk. And the fact that all the other so-called gods, but the demigods, were expansions of Hari was shown by the use of a small hawk as a determinative associated with the names of the various demigods. So that every demigod would have this glyph attached to their name. Now, if you look at this picture, you see that the symbol of Hari is behind the head of the pharaoh, just as the hawk wings or eagle wings in Egypt and throughout the Middle East were seen underneath the disc, which was also a glyph for Hari. So that when we look at a picture of Vishnu riding on Garuda, actually we're seeing exactly the same thing in an expanded form as the discus of Hari on top of the Vahana of Garuda, or the solar bird, which appears so frequently in the West. This is purportedly the oldest icon of Buddha in Nepal, and he's on his throne, and we can see here above his throne is Garuda, so called by the Tibet. I meant to say Tibet, the oldest Buddha in Tibet. And he is actually called Garuda in Nepal and Tibet. And I want you also to notice the Nagas, which are also present there on the tops or the backs of the thrones or the heads of the pharaohs, and the other icons or murtis of Vishnu and his incarnation kings throughout the Mediterranean and the Indian subcontinent. This text has a nice description of the holiness of Garuda. Again, he's named Garuda in Nepal and Tibetan iconography. The number of images repeated here in the black and white text is due to the fact that the Garuda in different colors has different meanings. One can see some similarities between this Garuda, this is Chinese, and the Tibetan and Nepalese style Garudas that we just saw. The learned commentator in this text refers to this Chinese deity as the probable way that the Greeks actually envisioned Zeus, but due to their aesthetic sensibilities were unwilling to portray him. And instead the eagle became the standard of Zeus, while he was depicted in a very aesthetically pleasing way. Now this is a more modern but still traditional Vishnu and Lakshmi from Nepal. but I want you to notice that the symbols in Vishnu's hands are not strictly the ones that are associated in India with Vishnu, and instead many of them are symbols associated with Lokeshvara, which is actually Vishnu to the Mahayana Buddhists. As we look at Garuda here, see the interesting features of the Garuda in this, somewhat similar to the Tibetan and the Chinese Garuda. This is another type of Garuda frequently seen in Nepal, and you may notice with this one, as with many other Garudas, the Nagas or the serpents are present there, and sometimes Garuda is eating them and trampling on them, and sometimes they are very docilely coiled about him, which also signifies that he is the conqueror of these serpents, which in this particular case represent evil. The Naga is both a symbol of the deity and a symbol of the anti-Christos, as it were, or the false, the envious. There's also a tradition in which Garuda almost completely loses his bird aspect and starts looking quite a bit like a Western angel. So we'll look at a few of these before we go on to the next main type. Garudas are most frequently found on the back of the throne or somewhere on the throne of the deity as his vahana or carrier or asana that he's seated on, as just the wings, as a symbol with the disc superimposed on them. Or in the case of these icons, before the temple of Vishnu, paying obeisances to the deity in the temple. Most of these Garudas were photographed in Nepal. Because the Brahma Surya Sampradaya is alive and well in India, we have a lot of examples of contemporary Vishnu on Garuda images. This one and the next one are from the books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, and are very accurate with regard to traditional detail. Here, notice the weapons as well as the conch and other usual Vishnu symbols. This variant form has the Lord standing. Hari or Narayan or Vishnu is standing up in this one, which is something that's seen sometimes. And notice that in the background are the Vishnu Dutas, and they appear to be on swan carriers. The swan is another very important, or hamsa or goose, is another very important vahana or symbol, even a form of Vishnu.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Before we continue with the swan or hamsa vahana, we'll finish on the Egyptian hawk as a symbol of Heru or Hari or Ra, Ravi, another name of the sun in Sanskrit. You'll notice here that the hieroglyphic for Ra in this case is a hawk-headed person, and the second one down is the hawk-headed person with the serpent asana under the circular glyph for Hari, and then another variation of that below that, and then the hawk-headed symbol with the Egyptian